What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video, and we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it, talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and a potential graphics update before we've even gotten another update on the game. Now, this was spotted by, I would say Procheno. I don't know how to say his name exactly, but on the Fami boards, he talked about this. And as someone myself who's looked at so much footage of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and also the screenshots as well, while I analyzed things, I didn't necessarily put two and two together, even though this is somewhat old here. So it does seem like Xenoblade Chronicles 3 could even get more graphics updates as we go along, since they pretty much had two maybe separate versions of it in terms of an old build and a new build based on what they put out there. And we're gonna look at it right here. So let's talk about this, and here's what he had to say. Not sure if this would interest anyone, but I was comparing official screenshots to the trailer footage. It's interesting because the gameplay screenshots on Nintendo's website are taken right out of the trailer, but the cutscene screenshots are from what looks to be newer, higher quality build of the game. Monolith Soft does not do bullshot screenshots for their games. They do, however, do wallpaper super samples of their environments, which is different to what they're posting now. One thing you'll notice is all screenshots, though only 720p, are much sharper than the footage of the same clips. This isn't YouTube compression either. This has to be a new build with higher fidelity / resolution, because not only is the image just sharper, but the textures and other details are better / different too. So here's the trailer footage. And then if you look at it right there, you can clearly see the difference. Check out this right here, as you can see with my mouse. Check out this right here. See how that mountain is like this right here, right above Noah's head? But if you look at it here, clearly it's further out. Clearly there's far more detail on the mountain that you can see here, and it does have a sharper image. Also, if you look at her hair right here, you can clearly see more shine, better effects as well. Also a slightly different color tint too. So what he said here, it's not about the YouTube compression, because this looks completely different and it's the exact same shot. It's not panning or rotating or anything like that. It's the exact same shot. So you can clearly see better texture and detail, even in like this tree right here. Better texture, detail, shadows, lighting, everything is sharper with it. So I think I might have a explanation for this outside of the regular, okay, well, obviously new builds and stuff like that. But the interesting thing is that this came out at the same time. Usually you'll see things trailer and screenshots, it's like the same thing, or a company is trying to job you a little bit, and maybe the trailers, the CG stuff, and the screenshots are like, okay, this is how the game actually looks like, right? Without all the cinematics and everything. But it seems to be the exact opposite here. Monolith Soft seems to already be improving things even further and faster than what we would have thought, right? So next up, despite the same cloudy daytime environments, it has a different hue shade. The rock structure behind them is entirely different. The IQ is sharper. The character models / clothing is cleaner, and the higher fidelity texturing, especially on Noah's red jacket, which is now producing a reflective material. There's also less contrast on the skin and faces and Mio's hand. So yeah, the texture detail is absolutely right, and I did not notice that. Look at that right there, like the ridges that you can kind of see. Also, the texture detail is better on the jacket as well. Also Mio too. So good stuff there. Good catches with all that. Now here is the next example here. We also have, which is definitely Nia here. So here's the first one from the trailer, then this is the screenshot from there, and then you can see the sharpness / texture quality is up. Also the lighting change in the background on the right side. So let's take a look at that. So here's the right side here, then here's that. So I mean, yeah, there's a bit of a difference there as well on that side. So I can see that just a little bit, not as obvious as the first one that we went through here and here. So yeah, there is that. Now moving on to the next one here, I want to see this one, because this one I wasn't able to look at and kind of really understand at first, but I'm sure that there's a description here. So this is also in the trailer. You see Noah, this part when he's fighting against Mio, and right there. So let's see what he says here. Lighting change on the faces, stronger side lighting hitting the face, nose, and left shoulder. Background vegetation has also been altered / thinned. So let's take a look at that. So better shading on the face Yes, he is right about that. As you can clearly see, if you look at this right here, you see it's kind of darker, that it all goes right here, but then look at this right here. It's a bit thicker and the shading is a bit better in terms of the light and everything on there. So yes, it is slightly changed on that as well. And then the vegetation said thinner here. So yeah, I can see that a little bit with like the fire. So absolutely, it's definitely been changed though. There is a change here and there's a bit more grass when it comes to this area right there. So absolutely, there's been some changes and that's good stuff, man. That's really good stuff. And there's more, there's more, but wait, there's more. Okay, so here is from the trailer, then this is the screenshot. The image is much sharper, more detail in everything. Lighting is slightly darker, less bloomy, and a shade greener, he says on that. And yes, I can definitely see that. A bit darker, better shading. It's not as light or hazy on it as well. So very good stuff there. And then there's more. We also have my man right here in terms of what he has to say here. So face shade softening has been toned down, more hard lines and sharpness is up. So yes, you can clearly see that from right here compared to here. It's a bit more rigid on there as well. So absolutely on the character faces. Now let's take a look at this one here. This is Mio when she's fighting in that first trailer. So huge background lighting adjustment, much more contrasted and more shadow detail, also much sharper. A lot of character clothing detail has been added or now visible due to the higher resolution compared to the trailer footage. Again, this isn't just from YouTube compression. This drastic adjustment is probably resolution, engine, fidelity, polish since recording the trailer footage. So absolutely, yes, it's definitely sharper. It definitely looks cleaner. You can see it. It's clear cut when it comes down to it. So absolutely, I think this guy is spot on with what he's saying here as well. So another big background lighting adjustment, more contrast, better detailed environments, more vegetation in the foreground, less drastic but still noticeable sharpness boost. Nice overall improvements in my opinion. The resolution and texture clarity boosts are essential and appreciated after their previous games having trouble in those departments specifically. Thanks for coming to my analysis post. You have yourself a good day. So yeah, shout outs. This is something that I have heard some people talk about, but the comparison here is very good to do this and take this. But yeah, this is a very clear difference when it comes to the clearness of it, the background not looking as foggy with the exact same shots that was provided by Monolith Soft. So absolutely looks sharper, looks better. And I think that's the biggest thing here with these games, guys. And with this is the fact that Monolith Soft is actually doing something to improve upon their weakness, which has been on the tech side when it comes to resolution, when it comes to the clarity. It's definitely better, even if it's 720p. I think that they still did a really good job of that. Now, we do know about the super fidelity that Nintendo's been using for some of their games. The most recent game is the Nintendo Switch sports game that has the AMD super resolution or super fidelity. So I'm guessing that there's some form of that inside the engine that they're using now. But what we do know is that this is an updated engine and build. It was built off of what Torna did, which Torna did improve things a bit. And they even stated that. They said, hey guys, we are improving things on the engine here. The graphics are going to get better. So I knew that once they moved up to the Switch and they're not kind of back off of what they did with the Wii U, they can really take the time and effort. That's the reason why this game has taken so long. Outside of everything else that you need to do for video gaming, like recorded voices and everything, the graphics and the story and all that, they had to make sure that the resolution and the clarity of this game was better if they truly want to take that next step. And I think that stuff like this is absolutely going to help when it comes down to it. Heck, the footage that you guys are seeing from the trailer playing right now is already outdated, and people felt that that looked really good on top of the screenshots and everything. So I am ecstatic for this one here. I think that this is a good thing, and I cannot wait for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It is definitely one of my most anticipated games of the year, coming out this September. So I think it's going to be a must play, not because of this, but just because I love Xenoblade so much. Not everybody loves the games, but I think this might be the game that kind of turns people's thoughts around about it. What they do with the combat system, we still need to see that, because we know that the exploration is there, we know that the content is there, and now the graphics are getting there too. So it's coming together pretty nicely here. So what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here. Capcom is doing their best to announce everything but Dino Crisis when it comes down to it, because I wanted to talk about this game just briefly, and it's a new IP. It's a dinosaur-themed, like, Muso type of game. It's called Exoprimal. It's coming out for PlayStation and Xbox and also PC. So dinos are appearing from thin air and planets are in crisis. So Capcom has announced dinosaur-themed team-based action game called Exoprimal for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, S, Xbox One, and PC via Steam. It will launch next year. So they announced it kind of early, but hey, it's better than it coming out like 3 years from now or something like that. So here is the general premise and overview of the game. It's 2040 and the planet is in crisis. Dinosaurs are appearing from thin air and laying waste to cities across the globe. Threatened by history's deadliest creatures, the world turns to the powerful Ibis Corporation, and I probably pronounced that wrong, and its revolutionary technology for help. The company's next-generation AI, Leviathan, can forecast where dinosaur outbreaks will occur and deploy exofighters to the area. Armed with state-of-the-art mechanized combat armor known as exosuits, these warriors represent humanity's last hope. Exoprimal pioneers a new multiplayer experience rooted in co-op, but with a competitive edge. In the game's main menu, Dino Survival, teams fight for every breath against countless dinosaurs while racing to complete missions before rival squads in 5 versus 5 matches. A dynamic mix of objectives keeps players on their guard and ensures each match is different from the last. Exo fighters will need to stay on their toes as hunts transition into precious cargo deliveries or desperate last stands against relentless assaults. Opposing teams are even giving opportunities to tackle adversaries head on and impede their progress. While Exoprimal is purely focused around multiplayer, a narrative is interwoven throughout the game. Players can sink their teeth into the world's rich history and colorful characters by unlocking new story threads and piecing together the mystery behind the dinosaur outbreaks. Exo fighters are always outnumbered and must work together to overcome overwhelming odds. Their exosuits come in an array of classes, each playing a distinct role in combat. Assault models like the Marksman Deadeye and the melee-oriented Zephyr excel at cutting down enemy swarms. Meanwhile, tanks such as the shield-bearing Roadblock and support types like the Vital Witch Doctor help keep everyone alive, fight another day. Every model is outfitted with a unique armory and special abilities. Players can even swap between exosuits on the fly to overcome any situation, no matter how dire. Yo, what up, Splatoon? So anyway, this is interesting, man. This game looks like it's going to be one of those games that's abandoned after like 1 month of playing and all the checks clear from Capcom giving it out to streamers to play the game. But I mean, I think that it's going to be interesting nonetheless. It was gameplay focused. I mean, if you're into multiplayer, it seems like one of those meme type of games that's just going to have so much funny stuff and weird things that happen that it's so bad in terms of some of the premises that it's good. That's what I think with this game. So those are my thoughts on it. I'll probably check it out when it does come out just because I'm so interested in how quirky this game looks. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here. I have a little bit of beef with this next game, and I'm hoping and I'm praying it's good because they've changed a classic and beloved franchise and turned it into another action RPG trying to get modern gamers instead of sticking with the gameplay that people have wanted for so long now at this point. So Square Enix has announced a brand new action RPG called Valkyrie Elysium for the PS4, PS5, and PC, and if that sounds familiar, because it's from the Valkyrie Profile series from the PS1 and also the PS2. Now here's an overview of the game via Square Enix. The trailer provides a first glimpse of the game's protagonist, a young Valkyrie who is entrusted with the fate of the world by the All-Father, the highest of gods and ruler of all creation. She will face various enemies on her quest and must utilize a variety of weapons, magic, and the power of her allies to prevent Ragnarok, the destruction of the world. Valkyrie Elysium calls on the roots with the music from the series regular Motoi Sakuraba, while driving the series forward in a fresh, new direction with classic combat mechanics such as finishing moves and combo systems reimagined for an action RPG. The game also features character designs by Yua Nagai of Psy Designation. Now, here's some additional information on the game. What is Valkyrie Elysium? Valkyrie Elysium is an action RPG featuring an epic story, beautiful environments, and a new fast-paced combat system that combines strategy, action, and a unique combo system that will test your ability to think and react. The game takes place in the distant past in a world where Ragnarok, the end times, looms large upon the realms. With the last of his strength, the All-Father creates an emissary of redemption, a lone Valkyrie who can become the salvation of this doomed world. As the brave warrior descends into the ruined land, she encounters many challenges and uncovers the hidden truth behind the impending destruction. What will she think of this irrational world, and what end will she choose for it? So here's some more information on the gameplay as well, because this is a very different type of game, and like I said, I've got some thoughts on it as well. So the gameplay of Valkyrie Elysium, such as recruitable warriors who will join the hero and fight at her side when summoned. It's a beautiful game too, with incredible art design, and captures the spirit of the series in an exciting modern way. On PlayStation 5, it is also running in 4K and 60 frames per second, making for an adventure that looks and feels beautifully crisp. And I think that's why the graphics obviously aren't as what you would expect, I guess, right? Just because it's running at 4K 60 on the PS5, that means definitely they're gonna have to tone things down. But yeah, it does look crisp, and it's definitely gonna run crisp, so the action should be right up there when it comes to like frame rate and all that. Now, of course, we must mention the music. The series composer returns and contributes to the game's stunning score. RPGs are always better when they have a strong soundtrack, and this one is going to be, well, literally music to your ears. And I have to agree with Square Enix on there. A game with a good soundtrack definitely makes it a lot better than games with bad soundtracks, especially RPGs where you might be grinding or it takes a long time to get through certain parts. So yes, good music is absolutely key. So I was a bit hard on this game just because it's not the Valkyrie profile that I know and love. We haven't had that since like the PS2 era. So I actually wanted a new Valkyrie profile game that played like the older games, but then just innovated on that current battle system. This is a complete change and just ripping out some of those things and making it like a Tales game or like some of the other action RPGs that we've gotten. So I'm not so happy about that, because the only game that's like the old school Valkyrie profile games that got any bit of notoriety recently was Indivisible, which is an indie game at the end of the day. It's still a really good game, but it plays just like Valkyrie profile. So the fact that they're going away from that and doing another action RPG like we've already gotten is just kind of disappointing, but I'm willing to check out the game. As a big fan of the Valkyrie profile series since the PS1, I'm willing to check it out. But I hope that it gives me the same feeling that the PS1 and the PS2 Valkyrie profile games did, because those were awesome story and combat wise, and this one just seems a little bit underwhelming at first, but we'll have to wait and see exactly how it turns out. So what are your thoughts on this, guys, when it comes to everything that I discussed here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.